One of the biggest reasons why relationships fail to work is when the other person becomes selfish. In this video that we're going to look at scientists' research who say that they've determined 80% accuracy rate. That can become a predicting factor as to whether or not relationships become successful or not, especially marriage. It has an 80% divorce rate accuracy. Researchers say that more than ever, more so in today's world, our generation has a lot of reasons and a lot of factors that play into why relationships don't work. And this is one video that you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into it.
You've said current dating is just practicing for divorce. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk about the fragility of long-term relationships and divorce rates going up. You've actually done some research looking at what
these factors predict divorce with 80% accuracy. I really wanted to react to this because I thought it was just really interesting how it's a very simple and straightforward conversation. That's not really difficult to understand. It's not, but there's a simple solution and a hack to what the solution is. I want you to listen to what she's saying, and we want to talk about it a little bit.
Predicts divorce. Mm-hmm. What did you find?
Well, I have to give credit where credit's due, but the most long-standing research into marriage and relationships was by the Gottman Institution, and they did the most scientific and objective analysis of relationships, and they studied 10,000 couples in a lab over a couple of days, and they were able to predict with 80% accuracy which couples would stay together and which ones would get divorced within a year. And it was so simple what they were able to find, and it was simple thing as responding to each other's bids for connection. What I mean by this is when we have a partnership where one person comes home and expresses an emotion, the other one picks up on it, that partnership has the base levels to last a really long time. So it could be a simple thing like you come home from work and say, oh, I'm so tired, and your partner says, why, what's wrong? Simple connection. From that connection, they trust each other and then they start to lean into each other. But if you come home and you're like, I'm so tired, and your partner either says nothing or says, why are you tired? I'm the one that's been with the kids all day, or what have you done all day? I've been at work all day. That turning away from each other's emotional needs is the training ground for divorce. They are now setting themselves up for divorce, and it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, it might last another 10, 15 years, but we get emotionally exhausted by having partners who reject our kind of advances for connection, and eventually the relationship ends.
Why is it the case then that divorce rates are rising? If that's the biggest predictor, if that's 80% accuracy of being able to predict, why has that specific trait changed so much over the last 50 years?
I want to stop right there and talk about a couple of things. I'll look at something that I read. It was a little article that I want you guys to read very, very specifically and tell me what you guys are picking up on what she just mentioned and what I see right now. Okay, so here's the thing. This article talks about he's not my type. All right, I hope you guys can see it right. So it says he's not my type. I'm 26 years old. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and my parents died when I was 14 years old. I dropped out of school because no one could afford to pay my fees. I met a guy when I was 16, and he sent me back to school. He sold fruit on the street so that he could pay my school fees. He later got a job as a truck driver and sent me to university. I'm now working as a lawyer. My problem is that I feel I can't continue with this relationship because this guy is not my type of man I would like to marry one day. How best can I tell him that he is not my type without hurting his feelings? Okay, I am grateful that he sent me to school, but I can't be in a relationship with him anymore. Why were you with him to begin with? I want somebody in my own class, not a truck driver. Please help. Okay. There are a lot of things that pick out when it comes to this little segment right here. First of all, she was young, met a guy, he invested in her. She got a law degree. She's now educated. So now he's a truck driver, didn't invest in himself, didn't upgrade himself, didn't spend all that time investing in him. That's what men do. Men are willing to sacrifice and make an investment into you, into the lady. Now, how women may interpret that, that's slightly different. But that's just a quality that men have. The problem with that type of situation is now she's in a different place in life where she feels intellectually he can't still I'm sorry. She doesn't feel emotionally or intellectually stimulated. She can't have stimulating conversations with a truck driver. That's what she means by he's not my type. Now, I was talking to a friend, and he said he cited the same thing. He was like, yeah, his mistake was he didn't invest in himself. But maybe he's happy being a truck driver. Maybe he's happy just being a provider or doing what he's doing. We can see the problem right there. Okay, so what would I advise that lady? Well, pay it forward, invest in him, advise him to invest back in himself. I just feel like it's wrong to take all this money and take everything from somebody so you can benefit, and after you benefit, you're like, okay, thanks for everything, but I think where I'm at is not where you are. I just feel like there's something wrong with that. I just feel like it's like being, well, as I said, narcissistic, is self-centered. It's like he baked you and cooked you up for somebody else, and now you coming back here, you're like, oh well, he's not my type. Yeah, that's easy for women to do, but men can't do that. Once again, and we are providers. So one of the things that I'm citing that the lady was saying on the video, that I'm gonna get back to just now, is the fact that people divorce. Their divorce rate is due to the fact that people aren't finding reasons to have stimulating conversations, things that are similar, that they can talk about when they come back from home or whatever. Everybody's sort of minding their own business and so forth. So there's all this stuff going on. That I think we should get back to the video.
Distractions. Distractions. There are alternatives to everything. Even if you want a meal, you'll have 50 alternatives on Uber Eats. You want to go out to eat, there's 50 places that you could go. You want to watch something, there's 50 alternatives of what to watch. There are so many alternatives to every single aspect of life that it makes it almost impossible to invest in one. Everybody and everything becomes disposable. So what's happening is when your partner comes home a bit tired or stressed, maybe in the past you'd pick up on it, but now you're on your phone. Or maybe when your partner wanted to watch a series that you didn't care about, in the past you may have been like, okay, it's fine, I'll just get on with it, there's nothing else on. Now, like, you watch this, I'm going to watch that. There's so many alternatives to everybody, and every person is now becoming so disposable that we can no longer have the patience to invest in people's emotions.
Like, disposable. People are becoming so disposable. It's like such a female thing. I feel like I'm not hating, but I feel like this weighs in a lot more on females, because it's like men are so disposable regardless of how many things they do. I could do like 10 great things for a girl, and I just need her to do one thing, and she still sees me as disposable. I just feel like that these conversations leans more towards females than anything. But I get where she's coming from. It applies to everybody. We all get distractions. We all lose sight of what's really important. Okay. And I like what she's talking about right there. I see where she's going with it, because not so long ago it would be easy for families to like get together. Family values were a lot easier to identify, because you could pick a show that you could watch as a family, or television programs or whatever. But fewer options just leave enough room to find a common ground in a lot of things. So distractions. We are more distracted than ever from each other. Big issue. Not a new thing that we're hearing, but the divorce rate, though. This is they say it's 80% accuracy predictor.
Emotional needs. And we're becoming so hedonistic that our emotional needs come first. And we're being taught this in society more and more. We're always talked about put you first, self-esteem, self-assurance, self-actualization. The word self is kind of programmed in our psyche, and the collectivism that we used to have as a society is gone. So we're no longer getting happiness from somebody else's happiness. It's a selfish pursuit now, unfortunately.
But that's the problem with relationships, is that we all think about what we want from the other person. We're not really thinking about what it is that we're giving and offering the other person. I'm preparing myself for marriage, meaning that I'm working on myself to be more loving. I'm working on myself to be respectful. I'm working on myself to be somebody who gives. Everybody thinks in this very, very self-gratifying, selfish, self-centered, narcissistic way of what I expect from the other person. It's always about what I expect from the other person. An ideal person, the ideal standards, all those different type of things. But are you the type of person? Okay, I want a good person in my life. I want to marry a good person. But do you know how to love a good person? Do you know how to treat a good person? Seldom do people think like that.
Isn't it strange that the trait of focusing not on somebody else's desire for connection is causing you to turn inward. That is causing divorces to increase down the line, which means that people respond to that by being more defensive, by being more guarded and more cynical, which makes them turn further inward, which makes them less of an eligible partner to the next relationship, which then just creates a cycle that then gets broadcast onto the internet. People who haven't had much experience in relationships because they're young or because they fail out or because they're concerned or nervous or averted to risk use that as their proxy and say, right, well, I better enter into this relationship guarding myself so that I don't get hurt, which makes it more likely that it's going to break up, and the cycle just continues.
It's exactly that. What happens is we're actually entering relationships with our armor up. But in the process of playing those games, like not texting back, not getting too close, not attaching, not telling them that you miss them, not telling them that you love them, you are training somebody to love you in the wrong way. If I'm
tell that to all the YouTube dating experts that say this is how you must text, this is how you must approach a relationship, this is how you must keep your distance, all the games people play. Think about that. Okay? Yeah, all the guys, all the advice that you get on TikTok, man, she's beautiful though. Yeah. Man, this girl is beautiful. Yeah. Okay, now I'm distracted. All these distractions, they'll make you have a bad video. Now focus. Dating coaches, they may get you what you want because I've seen it work. It does what they do tell you how to get the girl, but it's just more manipulative than anything. You might get the girl, but is it for a long term? Is it for marriage? That's the big question right there. It's not just about you and what you get, but it's about the other person and what they get. That's the other part that you can't fully manipulate. You can manipulate your intentions. You can't manipulate the reciprocation of your intentions.
I'm somebody who's needy and I actually need lots of love and reassurance, but I don't want to text first and I don't want to be looking needy and I don't want to say I miss you because I'm going to wait for him. I'm then teaching him that I'm cool, calm and collect and I don't care when I hear from him. If I see you, I see you. But then he's not getting the training ground of what I truly want. He's not getting access to my true needs. So I am now no longer communicating effectively. I'm actually teaching him how to love in a very avoidant and dismissive manner because I'm pretending to be cool. When really, if I say, look, I need to speak to my partner on a daily basis. I like to see you regularly. I love you. I miss you. What is this? I like labels. When I start communicating my needs, he will actually learn how to love me. But we're teaching people to do the opposite. We're teaching people to pretend that they're somebody else and especially pretend that they're avoidant, pretend that they're independent, pretend that they don't have these needs. So essentially, we're going to attract the wrong partner.
What else have you found that is
attracting the wrong partner? She's like talking about all the YouTube advice you get. You end up attracting the wrong person because you're feeding them what you want them to believe.
Predictor of a toxic or a negative or a declining relationship?
Criticism over praise. Again, with the research, one of the things that they find is partners that last are ones that praise a substantial amount compared to criticism. So they scan the environment to kind of praise their partner. They'll look for excuses to praise their partner. Like, even if it's as simple as like, you make the bed so good. Every time I come home, the house is clean. These tiny things, any opportunity to praise their partner. But what happens in relationships that end is they can't remember the last time they complimented each other. They think it should be a given. They think, well, I think you're pretty because I'm with you, aren't I? Or, I'm grateful that you pay the bills. Like, you're a guy. Why do you need compliments? Men are craving this. I've noticed a lot in my practice, the men that often have affairs, they're not actually seeking sex. They're seeking a woman that compliments them.
Ladies, did you hear that? Did you hear that? What? Yo, say it out loud for the people at the back. All men are cheaters. Well, all women are non-complimenters. We pursue you. The problem with a lot of females is you get stuck on this dating phase where you're in love with the idea of being pursued, but you forget that it's a give and take process. You build a relationship on the process of understanding the other person as they learn to understand you. They give a part of themselves, you give a part of yourself to them. It's you gotta do some giving, you gotta do some complimenting. Yeah. Men crave this. Men need to be complimented. Men need validation. And if you get it from elsewhere, whoo, goodness gracious. Well, okay. All right. Hey, females.
Say they can't remember the last time a woman told them that he looks great. Whereas for women, our partner says it, but also our friends will tell us. People will tell us. Yeah, we're always being told we're beautiful or whatever it is. But for men, if their partner doesn't tell them, nobody does. So when they meet somebody who simply tells them they look good, they're intelligent, something to validate them, they immediately become attracted to that because they're starved of it. So praise is something that I think couples forget how important it is.
I suppose that
You better believe that. You better believe that. You better believe that. Ladies, compliment your man. Compliment your man. When we hear it, trust me, it's Christmas. You get it all the time. That's why you take a lot of you take a lot of things for granted. That's why you take even a guy with great qualities. You take him for granted because you'd be like, well, you know, I get a lot of attention. I get a lot of offers. It's common. We get it. Okay, it's common to get lost in the attention, and you know, there's a lot of resumes. We get it. But when it comes down to it, it ain't just about you. It's a relationship for a reason.
Game playing and the rivalry that sometimes happens in relationships as they start to go downhill, that makes this situation worse, because you're not going to praise somebody that you think is your rival or that you're trying to play games with, or that you're unsure about the level of trust that you should put in them.
Whoever you don't feel safe with. Thing is, all of these things I'm saying, they only come when you feel safe. Now, simple things like liking other girls' pictures or following people now makes people feel super unsafe, super unsafe. So their guards go up. I know people that the moment they add somebody on Instagram and they see who they're following, they might have had a really great date with them. Everything was great, but then they look on their following, like, oh, straight away, insecurities, guards, everything.
The one thing that I think is quite outstanding in everything that they're talking about is the fact that this stuff, it all comes back to the one thing and only one thing that we always talk about: distractions. What is it that's distracting you, that's not keeping you locked in? If you're a man of faith, what's keeping you distracted from building your relationship with God? What is it that keeps you distracted from building yourself and aligning yourself with God, with your marriage, with your profession, how you build yourself as a person, as a man, your business, your personal goals, your fitness goals? Distractions. What is the biggest focus in your life? This is it's 80%. Let's say it's 80% predictor. There's 80% accuracy. I don't think you need scientists to really tell you that. It's not a new thing either. It's just same old. Technology is just making it harder and harder for people to connect. It's making it easy for us to meet, but harder to connect. We're not really connected. You know, the whole idea of social media and connecting with people is a play at what the actual experience of bonding with people really is. Well, what can I say? Listen, I need you guys to tell me what your perspectives are on what you, especially on the young lady, the 26-year-old she's a lawyer, she's a legal practitioner now, okay? What do you think she should do in that type of situation? What must she do? What must she do? She should do something. What do you guys think she should do in that type of situation? But anyway, in any case, guys, thanks for watching my video. Do tell me what you guys think. Tell me your views. What other videos would you like me to react about or give you my viewpoint on? Super. God bless, and thanks for watching.